Yeah, so welcome back to the Great Matters podcast for another weekly roundup of what's been happening in the past week. So, what has been happening has been rather exciting and somewhat intense. So, for those that don't know, our National Police Commissioner is a guy called Fani Masemola. And underneath him, we have all the different provinces, and each province has its own sort of commissioner, provincial commissioner, of which the one in KZN is Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, who's recently been top of the pops in the news. Why? Because some time back he came out and called out so much stuff that is happening in the police force, in the government, in the judiciary. So much so that Cyril Ramaphosa, our fearless leader, has done something for a change. And what did he do? He put together a commission. And this time it appears that the commission is actually doing something which is fantastic. It is called the Mkhwanazi Commission because it is headed up and chaired by the retired Concord Justice Mkhwanazi. It was established in September, so we're now in October last month, when Mkhwanazi came forward and made all these allegations about these pockets in our state. So what's the purpose? The purpose is to investigate the explosive allegations that have been brought by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. What did he claim? Good question, and I'm glad you asked. He claims that there's widespread corruption. You think? That's not all. There's criminal infiltration and political interference within the South African criminal justice system. Where we should be protected, there's criminal gangs working and controlling and leading our judiciary. He says further that there's collusion between these gangsters and politicians. And even, that's not all, senior police officials, even prosecutors and intelligence operatives and elements of the judiciary. Wow. This is massive news. We are compromised, to say the least. So they've been put together, and what is their mandate? Their mandate is they can summon witnesses that they need based on these allegations. They can subpoena documentation that's required, WhatsApps, all that kind of thing, and make formal recommendations about their findings back to Squirrel. So that's who they report to. They're totally independent of Parliament, and they report directly into Cyril. Their powers are judicial and technical in nature, and that's sort of where it ends. It's focused on the evidence that's been presented, how does that fit into the law, and the structural integrity and the likes of that. So that's not all. That's Commission 1. Mkhwanazi Commission. In parallel to that, Parliament has said we need a further commission, which has now been set up and is called the Ad Hoc Commission. The Ad Hoc Commission was put together by Parliament, which is separate from the executive. Thank the Pope for that. What is their focus? Their focus is on overseeing and oversight of the real-time follow-up of what's coming out of the Mkhwanazi Commission's findings, to ensure an interface, I suppose, with me and you, the public. So whilst these things have all been televised, there's a different level of accountability. So rather than waiting for the final reports to come out, and guys, this commission could take the Mkhwanazi Commission. This is not going to be a quick thing. There have been tons of allegations, tons of interviews still to happen, tons of documentation that has got to be waded through before they come up with their final report. I hope it's just not like there's on the report where nothing gets done about it. So it doesn't look like it though this time around, because this has got the ear of so many people, even you now. So what is their function? Their function is to hold public hearings with the people that have come out of this, and they can call officials to account. Why, who, where, what, when did you say, and why did you say this? So they're basically going to be investigating the issues that the Mkhwanazi Commission may not fully cover in detail because they may not need to, but we need to on this side. So what's the bigger picture? The bigger picture is that both bodies are addressing the serious concerns and allegations, the serious concerns about the integrity of South Africa's criminal justice system. They're supposed to be helping, representing us, keeping us safe, keeping our businesses aligned, keeping politicians honest. So why two? A lot of people are arguing that perhaps the second one, the ad hoc commission, is too much of an overlap. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, putting you first, like the old Nashua advert used to say. It's consuming expensive resources with slow outcomes, blah, blah, blah. My take on it is that two bodies are better than one. And I think because of severity and the seriousness of what has been called out by Matlanga Commission and Mkhwanazi, that these two bodies is probably better than one. Yes, the progress is going to be slow. The commissions and the committees exist, but let's see. Let's take a back seat for the moment and just see how this thing unfolds and what rightfully will come out of this. And I do believe this is not one by any stretch of the imagination that's going to be swept under the carpet. So the process to date has been quite interesting. It began with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's testimony himself, dressed in his camo uniforms, playing the part, which was absolutely necessary, a good show of force. He's a very clever man, this Mkhwanazi. I like him. Never met him and heard of him before now, but just the integrity, the honesty, and what he's calling out. Man, we need more people like you, not just in all the government and legal places, but in our businesses too. We need to cut the rot there too. So he presented his detailed evidence, including documentation and communications and WhatsApps that he keeps referring to and calls that he had recorded, and all supporting his allegations. This must have taken him quite some chutzpah, as my Jewish friends would say, some balls actually, to stand up, put his head above the parapet here and call the stuff out. This is potentially life-threatening stuff for him. So well done on you, sir. Well done. So the early outcomes have been fascinating to listen to and to hear in part. So, firstly, the person, head of the Gauteng Hawks, is a maniki by the name of Shadrach Sibia. He allegedly has removed 120 dockets from something called the PKTT, Political Killings Task Teams. Yes, people are being killed in this country for political reasons, political persuasions, for cover-ups. They put together a task team to investigate these political killings. He was heading it up. He removed, allegedly, so far 120 odd documents of investigations into these criminal syndicates. Disappeared without a trace. He's also represented by a top-notch, high-profile lawyer by the name of Ian Levitt, I believe, and one just wonders, where does the money come from for all this? For all this, lawyers don't come cheap at the best of times. And now you've got this high-profile guy, top-dollar lawyer, and he's doing services for this man. Anyway, the second man that has been called out this week is the mystery man. His name is Hangwani Morgan Maumela. Now, Morgan Maumela happens to be the nephew of our one and only fearless leader, Squirrel I'm a Poser. I was going to say, normally does nothing and he's doing something now, which is a good thing. So, one tick. Cyril, in the whole existence, so far I'm giving you one tick for doing something about this Mkhwanazi's call out. Anyway, but you claim to not know or have any knowledge of Morgan Maumela. He's your nephew. This nephew, Mr. Maumela, is linked to the Tembisa hospital corruption scandal. And if you've been following that, you would know, in part, something like this. Millions, tens, millions, hundreds of millions of rands that were allocated from taxpayers' money to go to help the needy community of Tembisa for their hospital, for medicines, beds, operations that have been needed by the poorest of poor in our community, have been siphoned off into a 60 or 70 million rand house in Sandown If you were watching the news, you would have seen trucks pulling up outside his house, and out were driving not one, not two, not three, I think there were 4 royal blue Lamborghinis. Where did you get this money, Morgan? Maumela? His house was razed, the assets had been seized, and they confiscated his Lamborghinis. The consequences of his actions and the syndicates that he's involved with has meant, ladies and gentlemen, the death, have contributed to the death of thousands of people, needy people that needed hospital care, the loving touch and care of doctors and nurses and medicines and instrumentation to keep them alive, operations that they never got. But Fat Cat Maumela, who Cyril doesn't know, is driving not one, but 4 Lamborghinis. Man, I really don't have words right now for this, how I feel about this. It's just absolutely atrocious. It is evil. And this man and people like him need to be held accountable and jailed. And in some instances, I feel like saying, bring back the death penalty. Bunch of morons. So these investigations are revealing the deeply entrenched corruption, multiple levels of our government, and systems and places that should be looking after and out for and serving you and me, the community. Our taxpayer money, depending on your income, close to like 50%, 40% of tax every month. You get 10 grand a month, 4 grand, 5 grand goes to tax, the government. And what they're doing? Buying Lambos. It's not going. It's going to BEE, Black Economic Enrichment. We've had our discussions about that, and that will maybe be a topic again for a future Grey Matters podcast. But for now, just know that the process is going to be slow, it's going to be expensive, and there's lots of names that are going to be exposed. Hulla, Jolly, Luya. Yeah? Networks. The people in these networks, the actions that they have been so despicable with, that are going to be held accountable. And may that happen sooner rather than later. A reminder to me and you just to keep holding these guys accountable. Keep calling them out. If you know anything, get hold and call it out. Get hold of the people in power. I don't even know, while I'm saying that, I wouldn't even know where to go to. Who do you trust if you can't trust the police? Africa is not for sissies, guys and girls. Anyway, our vigilance and persistence, and keep on the sustained pressure. You have a voice, use your voice. Don't spoil your vote. Get up and vote. We've got to vote the ANC, EFF and MK out into oblivion. We don't need them in this country. We don't need them. We'll leave it there. Anyway, it's been great chatting. Thanks for joining. Like, subscribe, chat, comment, and just thanks to all the people that have reached out. I know this is a fledgling thing. We don't have all the right toys and cameras and lighting equipment and airs. I'm sitting around a pool, you know, with my laptop and a microphone that sometimes works, and dogs barking and hardy-dars that I hate with a passion flying over our heads every now and then. Anyway, this is Africa. Welcome to our playground. Don't spoil your vote. Keep voting, and let's vote these morons out next time. Until then, God bless you guys, and keep your feet on the ground and reach for them stars.